Welcome in, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan. So get ready to hear this a lot today. We are in the final stretch of election season. So in the presidential election, candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, they're out there making closing arguments.
With your vote tomorrow, we can fix every single problem our country faces and lead America, and indeed the whole world, to new heights of glory.
So here we go now, 2 days and counting. Remember we were starting this thing like 60 days ago? Home stretch right there.
All right, so Pittsburgh, this is it. Tomorrow is Election Day. Tomorrow is Election Day. And the momentum is on our side. And let us remind everyone, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power.
And yet, what unites us is a love of the United States of America and a recognition that common sense needs to be brought back in the United States government.
I want you to think about the women in your life that you love. Their lives are at stake in this election. Donald Trump appointed those Supreme Court justices who repealed Roe versus Wade, and he brags about it. He is glad that those women you're thinking about and you love have fewer rights than their mothers and their grandmothers.
Today is it, Election Day.
We are just a few hours into Election Day. Election Day 2024 is officially underway.
It is finally Election Day in America, and history could be made as you, the voters, head to the polls to make your choice in a very close 2024 presidential election.
Hi, I'm Peyton. I am the Vice President of Temple Democrats, and I'm also a fellow for the Harris campaign. So this campaign, this election season has been my life for the past few weeks. I have been here every single day tabling for the past 9 days in a row. So this election is very important to me. I think it should be very important to everyone. I think there's nothing more true that your vote is your voice and your voice is your power. And something that makes me so anxious is that this is a close election. I see no reason that this election should be close. We have one side that spreads hate, that fear mongers, that spreads misinformation, that followers would perform violent acts on our nation's capital. And then we have another side who wants an opportunity economy, that's fighting for our rights, that's fighting for a woman's right to choose over their bodily autonomy. And I just think that the answer is so clear.
Yeah, so this election cycle has been really interesting, especially as somebody who's in the media, in the news world, specifically with Donald Trump's comments, oftentimes attacking journalists. It's really awkward for me as a journalist, because it's like we're just doing our jobs, we're just trying to report the facts, so it's making an already stressful job even more stressful. I know this past week he made comments joking about having journalists getting shot at, and just there's such a violent rhetoric that's being shared at the moment by him and his party. So if the election were to say go in his direction, it would certainly have significant implications for me, my career, and my family members. I'm not sure if I would feel comfortable staying within my field, given the recent attacks that he promotes on journalists. So that's been one of my biggest stressors in this election, is the attacks, ironically, as somebody who promotes themselves as a free speech candidate, on free speech. It seems that the only free speech that he tends to protect is free speech that he supports, on speech that he agrees with, which kind of runs contrary to the idea of free speech. So that's been the biggest thing, is we're having a lot of attacks on our freedoms and our rights to be ourselves and to act and to be ourselves.
I had just moved to Pennsylvania from DC, so I'm always blue over there, and being in a swing state has really stressed me out a little bit. I didn't really know anything about it, but then I started learning about the election and a lot of stuff like that, and I got really passionate, because I feel like I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, because I definitely need money in the future. And I plan to get a house after I leave, and I know that she is giving money to first-time homeowners and stuff like that. And I feel that my reproductive rights shouldn't be held in the hands of the government or anything like that. So I very much lean towards that side. And I feel like I should spread the word as much as possible, because people in Pennsylvania, some students don't really understand how powerful our voice is. And so I feel like I'd like to tell people as much as possible. Yeah. And I'm not here to tell you who to vote for if that's what you're going to say. I'd love to change people's minds, but it is sometimes mind-boggling that this is a close election, because I do fear what is going to happen tomorrow or in the following days when we find out if it doesn't go our way. And I have every faith that Kamala will win. I think we are on track to win a very close election, but I definitely have that pit in my stomach about what would happen if things go differently. I worry, being a queer woman, will those rights be infringed upon? If something happens to one of my family members, will they have a right to choose over their own body? And what about the women in other states that right, it's gone? That you have to travel miles to find an abortion, and sometimes that's not accessible. Sometimes you can't have the time off of work, you don't have the money to do it. So me living here, it's such a privilege, but I have to think about how that's not for everyone and how things are going to change if Donald Trump wins. And that's really scary. And I haven't really let myself even think about it yet, because I've worked too hard. So many people have worked too hard and fought too hard for him to win. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Allison Avalar. I voted today. Today I'm voting because I know women's rights is at stake this year. And I know that me personally, with my experiences, I know that if I weren't able to have my own rights to my own body, then I really would feel like there would be like an imbalance of power. I feel like no one should really have the right to kind of tell you what to do with your body. I also am voting because there are some people in my family that can't. And I also think that having a president who is fueled by hatred is not where I want to live. Like, it's not a country where I would want to live. I think it's very important to start voting, especially at a young age, just because you are one, getting like to exercise your vote for your future. And today I'm helping out just because I know that voting is very, very important for everyone of any age. And I know that with my vote, I can change the world and morph it into a future that I want.
I guess that this election is really a big thing for me, not only because Kamala Harris she's kind of like an inspiration to me, because I'm also a colored woman in America, and her getting so far for this election not only means something to me, but I guess also for like my future children. Dobbs Roe v. Wade being overturned is also a big thing too. My sister, she had an abortion, and just for her to have that option and not be tied down to something, I think is a really, it's healthcare, you know, like it's essential for America, or for Americans to have that choice to choose whether they should have a baby or they can have a baby or not. And as someone, I also think birth control is a big thing for me too. I'm on birth control, so I think young women and young girls both deserve to have the opportunity.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Will you also tell